Hello everyone. Today, we're going to follow the events of episode 97. In the previous episode, Qin Mu set out with Emperor Yan Feng, treating his injuries while witnessing the chaos spreading throughout the world. Later, he found the severely wounded national preceptor of Yan Kong. Qin Mu temporarily suppressed his injuries, then disguised the emperor and the national preceptor's family as ordinary cultivators. Together, they headed toward the capital, preparing to confront the crown prince. Now, let's get into episode 97. Emperor Yan Feng also recognized Qin Mu's astonishing talent in swordsmanship. He revealed that when he had reached Qin Mu's current level, he was already 57 years old. Qin Mu, however, had reached this level at a remarkably young age. Curious about the strengths of the Nine-Dragon Emperor technique, Qin Mu asked Emperor Yan Feng about it. The emperor explained that the essence of the technique lay in two words: transformation. A dragon could become large or small, appear or disappear, soar through the heavens or dive into the sea. It could summon clouds, create rain, control storms, and transform in countless ways. To everyone's surprise, Qin Mu immediately agreed to learn it. Although the Nine-Dragon Emperor technique was a secret technique of the Ling family that was never supposed to be passed down to outsiders, Emperor Yan Feng made an exception and taught it to Qin Mu. After learning how to circulate the Nine-Dragon energy, Qin Mu quickly merged the technique with the three-elixir tyrant body technique. In an incredibly short period of time, he successfully performed the Nine-Heaven Divine Dragon Shield, summoning 9 dragons into existence. The dragons then transformed into fire dragons, creating powerful tornadoes. They manipulated raging waters and even summoned thunder and lightning. Emperor Yan Feng and the national preceptor were both stunned by Qin Mu's terrifying comprehension ability. He had practically just learned the Nine-Dragon Emperor technique, yet he could already use it with the skill of someone who had cultivated it for many years. When the group was only 2 or 3 days away from the capital, and the crown prince's coronation was only 3 days away, a young woman transformed into a blue bird and appeared before Qin Mu. She reported that everything had been prepared. Qin Mu immediately understood that the time had come. He knew that if the Great Thunderclap Monastery and the Dao sect could kill an emperor, then the Heavenly Saint cult also had to demonstrate its strength. Under the astonished gaze of the national preceptor, Qin Mu calmly revealed his final plan. Enter the capital and kill the emperor. As they approached the capital, more and more spies belonging to the crown prince appeared along the roads. Although Yan Kong was still suffering from natural disasters and widespread chaos, the closer they got to the capital, the more prosperous and lively everything became. Red silk was tied around trees, the streets were crowded, and diplomatic delegations from many different countries were heading toward the capital to attend Crown Prince Ling Yusha's coronation. The fact that the new emperor had already begun changing Yan Kang's foreign policy before officially taking the throne made the surrounding countries extremely happy. Unlike Emperor Yan Feng and the national preceptor Yan Kong, who had once relied heavily on military expansion, Ling Yusha presented himself as gentle, scholarly, and peaceful. He willingly returned territories previously conquered by Yan Kong, promised compensation to neighboring countries, and abolished the system that required other nations to recognize Yan Kong as their suzerain. Because of this, the surrounding countries praised Ling Yusha as one of the greatest rulers Yan Kong had seen in more than 1500 years. But Ling Yusha had another political move that was even more dangerous. He announced that on the day of his coronation, he would issue an imperial decree confessing Yan Kang's sins before heaven. He would personally accept responsibility for the mistakes committed by the previous government, asking heaven to punish him while sparing the people of Yan Kong. Qin Mu immediately saw through the danger of this strategy. With a single decree of repentance, Ling Yusha could effectively erase 200 years of reform carried out by Emperor Yan Feng and the national preceptor. He could also diminish the sacrifices made by countless soldiers who had died during Yan Kang's previous wars. Emperor Yan Feng felt extremely bitter. His own son was using a political strategy that could completely erase the achievements of his entire reign. The national preceptor Yan Kong remained calm. He believed that once they returned to the capital, he could contact his former subordinates and loyal officials, combined with the Imperial Dragon Guards hidden within the 9 dragon veins. They would still have a chance to reclaim the capital. However, there was one major problem. The Great Thunderclap Monastery and the Dao sect had placed countless monks and Taoists inside the residences of the nobles and ministers to monitor them. The national preceptor wanted to use the power of the heavenly saint cult to enter the capital and contact his former allies. But Qin Mu believed that was completely unnecessary. The Buddhist and Taoist forces might be numerous, but they were far too scattered. Qin Mu compared them to a huge pancake stall. The bigger it became, the more weaknesses it had. The monks and Taoists stationed throughout the residences of the nobles were actually being restrained by those very nobles. Once chaos broke out, they would not be able to gather their forces quickly enough to protect Ling Yusha. When they reached Hoji town, Qin Mu even discussed their plan openly in the middle of the street. The national preceptor's wife became worried because there were many spies belonging to the crown prince nearby. But then something astonishing happened. The merchants, vegetable sellers, customers, butchers, and countless ordinary people around them suddenly stopped what they were doing. They all turned toward Qin Mu and respectfully called out, "Cult Master." Everyone finally realized that the heavenly saint cult had already infiltrated countless levels of society around the capital. Emperor Yan Feng was deeply unsettled by the enormous influence of the heavenly saint cult. Even the national preceptor had to admit that this was the sign of a powerful organization with strict laws and complete unity. When they reached the capital gates, Emperor Yan Feng saw that the security was extremely tight. It was the day Ling Yusha would officially become emperor. Foreign envoys, sect masters, clan leaders, and government officials had all gathered inside the capital, so the guards were inspecting everyone carefully. But Qin Mu simply led everyone straight through the gate. To Emperor Yan Feng's astonishment, the soldiers guarding the gates did not stop them at all. The national preceptor's wife immediately realized something terrifying. Even the soldiers guarding the capital gates might already belong to the heavenly saint cult. After entering the imperial city, Qin Mu gave medicine to Emperor Yan Feng and the national preceptor and told them to go to the heavenly altar and witness the coronation. At the Golden Palace, Ling Yusha wore the imperial robes and sat upon the throne while countless officials shouted their congratulations. Behind him stood monks from the Great Thunderclap Monastery and Taoists from the Tao sect. A large portion of the court officials had also been replaced by monks and Taoists. The old officials who refused to submit had been forced into retirement, placed under house arrest, or imprisoned. The coronation ceremony lasted until almost noon. Ling Yusha then led the officials, foreign envoys, and representatives of various sects toward the heavenly altar. Along the way, monks and Taoists continuously chanted Buddhist and Taoist scriptures. When Ling Yusha reached the heavenly altar, the Great Thunderclap Monastery presented the decree of the Buddha. Ling Yusha immediately knelt down and accepted it, calling himself a sinner. The decree declared Emperor Yan Feng to be a ruler without virtue and instructed the new emperor to maintain the current policies. Immediately afterward, the Tao sect presented the decree of the Tao master. Ling Yusha once again knelt and accepted it. After receiving both decrees, Ling Yusha prepared to kneel before heaven and carry out his plan to confess his sins. But at that exact moment, a powerful voice echoed across the heavenly altar. The Holy Master, Cult Master of the Heavenly Saint Cult, personally delivers his decree. His Majesty is ordered to receive it. Everyone immediately turned around. Qin Mu slowly approached with two monks and a Taoist nun. The two monks were actually Emperor Yan Feng and the national preceptor in disguise. The Taoist nun was the national preceptor's wife. Qin Mu openly declared that if the Great Thunderclap Monastery and the Tao sect were holy lands, then the heavenly saint cult was also a holy land. If Ling Yusha was willing to kneel and accept decrees from the Buddha and the Tao master even when they were not personally present, then now that the cult master of the heavenly saint cult had personally arrived, Ling Yusha had even more reason to kneel and welcome him. Immediately, a clan master launched a surprise attack against Qin Mu. But a huge battle flag suddenly appeared and blocked the attack. Behind the flag stood a powerful man carrying a sword. A flash of sword light passed through the air. The clan master instantly lost his head. Qin Mu did not even stop walking. More enemies attempted to attack him. One enormous battle flag after another appeared. The hall masters, elders, heavenly kings, and inspectors of the heavenly saint cult emerged one after another. Every time a flag disappeared, another headless corpse was left behind. Qin Mu calmly continued leading Emperor Yan Feng and the national preceptor toward the heavenly altar. Even the crown princess suddenly attacked. She was killed instantly. The foreign envoys and sect masters were terrified. No one dared to attack again. When Qin Mu reached the upper section of the heavenly altar, the monks and Taoists of the Great Thunderclap Monastery and Tao sect finally launched their full assault. More than 300 battle flags appeared simultaneously. The representatives of the 360 halls of the heavenly saint cult emerged. The 12 guardian elders, the left and right protectors, the heavenly kings, and the 8 great inspectors all appeared. A massive battle immediately erupted. The heavenly altar became a battlefield. Monks, Taoists, and powerful cultivators from the heavenly saint cult fought fiercely. Their divine abilities shook the heavens and earth. The entire capital was thrown into chaos. The Buddhist and Taoist forces stationed in the residences of the nobles immediately tried to rush to the imperial city. But just as Qin Mu had predicted, the nobles launched their counterattack. The monks and Taoists who had been monitoring them were slaughtered inside the residences. At the same time, the imperial prison also erupted into chaos. The prison gates were suddenly opened. The imprisoned officials were told that the real emperor had returned and was currently fighting at the heavenly altar. The heavenly strategy general Qin Jian, Su Yunji, and the other former officials immediately rushed out and headed toward the battlefield. The heaven-guarding heavenly king also appeared. Wearing full armor, he descended directly onto the heavenly altar and roared, "Who wants to die?" Ling Yusha was now completely panicked. He looked at the monks and Taoists around him and shouted that he was the true emperor. But then Emperor Yan Feng took the medicine Qin Mu had given him. His hair instantly grew back. He wiped away the disguise from his face and revealed his true appearance. The national preceptor did the same. The two men finally appeared before the entire court. The former officials immediately recognized the real emperor and national preceptor. They dropped to their knees. The entire situation suddenly reversed. Emperor Yan Feng immediately ordered the officials to eliminate the monks and Taoists who had taken control of the court. The officials and imperial guards joined the battle. The Buddhist and Taoist forces quickly collapsed. Ling Yusha desperately tried to resist. He even transformed into a dragon and attempted to escape. But the 8 great inspectors of the heavenly saint cult quickly caught him and brought him back to the heavenly altar. Ling Yusha was forced to kneel before everyone. He had nowhere left to run. Qin Mu finally stepped forward. He quietly told Ling Yusha that he had not simply helped Emperor Yan Feng reclaim the throne. He had also come to avenge and reclaim justice for the heavenly King Qian and heavenly King Lu of the heavenly saint cult. Ling Yusha was stunned. He could not believe Qin Mu's true motive. Finally, Qin Mu drew the young guardian sword. Without hesitation, he swung it down. The sword flashed across the heavenly altar. Ling Yusha's head flew into the air. Emperor Yan Feng and the national preceptor had just reached the heavenly altar when they witnessed the execution. Qin Mu calmly wiped the blood from his sword and returned it to its sheath. His back appeared frighteningly imposing. The rebellion in the capital had finally come to an end. Emperor Yan Feng reclaimed the throne, while Qin Mu used one devastating battle to demonstrate the overwhelming power of the heavenly saint cult. After the rebellion ended, the heavenly altar was covered in blood. Most of the monks and Taoists from the Great Thunderclap Monastery and the Tao sect were killed. While the survivors fled, Emperor Yan Feng officially reclaimed imperial authority. The officials knelt before him and once again shouted, "Long live the emperor! Long live the emperor! Long live the emperor!" Behind him stood Qin Mu and the 8 great inspectors of the heavenly saint cult. None of them knelt. The national preceptor's wife worried that Qin Mu's overwhelming talent and influence might eventually make the emperor wary of him. But the national preceptor remained calm. He believed Qin Mu had come to Yankong mainly to gain experience and undergo training. Helping the emperor reclaim the throne and killing Ling Yusha were simply part of Qin Mu's journey. Moreover, Yankong still needed Qin Mu's strength. After Emperor Yan Feng regained power, the court immediately began a massive purge. Officials who had supported Ling Yusha were arrested and their properties confiscated. The monks and Taoists from the Great Thunderclap Monastery and the Tao sect were also taken to the execution grounds. The executions continued from the 7th day of the 3rd month until the beginning of the 4th month. The only strange incident was that Ling Yusha's head mysteriously disappeared. Even after searching the area around the heavenly altar, no one could find it. Emperor Yan Feng did not order a serious investigation. After all, Qin Mu had already taken the head back to the heavenly saint cult. Emperor Yan Feng then erased Ling Yusha's name from the imperial family genealogy. His biological mother, the former empress, was also demoted posthumously. The government was reorganized. Young and talented scholars from the Imperial Academy were promoted, while capable people from the military and various ministries were brought into important positions. Not long afterward, the second prince, Ling Yushu, was summoned back from the frontier. Because Emperor Yan Feng's health was deteriorating, he appointed Ling Yushu as crown prince and gave him authority to supervise the government. Emperor Yan Feng asked him, "What is the first thing you would do if you were to govern the court?" Ling Yushu gave a surprisingly decisive answer. He planned to cancel the treaties signed by Ling Yusha, recover the territories that had been given away, and take advantage of the weakened Great Thunderclap Monastery and Dao sect to reclaim the lands controlled by those two holy lands. After that, he planned to provide disaster relief and issue an imperial decree confessing the government's sins before heaven. When Emperor Yan Feng heard this, he immediately became furious. He realized that these ideas did not come from Ling Yushu himself. Someone must have taught him. Eventually, Ling Yushu admitted that after returning to the capital, he had visited the national preceptor and the central counselor. He had asked them to help him prepare for the political challenges ahead. Emperor Yan Feng finally calmed down. He understood that the national preceptor was trying to prepare Ling Yushu for the future. However, he was also worried about the central counselor. Emperor Yan Feng admitted that his cultivation had been completely destroyed and his divine repositories had been severely damaged. Recovering his former strength would be extremely difficult. He might have only a few decades left to live. Therefore, he warned Ling Yushu to broaden his horizons, open his mind, and learn to think independently. Meanwhile, Qin Mu returned to the holy forest mountain of the Heavenly Saint cult. He led the elders and hall masters to the graves of Heavenly King Qian and Heavenly King Lu. Heavenly King Lu had been reduced to a handful of ashes. The remains of Heavenly King Qian had still not been found, so only his former clothing had been buried in his grave. Qin Mu placed Ling Yusha's head before their graves. Everyone burned incense and paid their respects. Qin Mu solemnly said, "Two heavenly kings, if your spirits still exist in heaven, you can finally rest in peace." The Jade Heavenly King then expressed concern. The Heavenly Saint cult had openly entered the imperial city, killed numerous experts from the Great Thunderclap Monastery and Dao sect, and even executed the crown prince. He feared that once Yan Kong stabilized, the emperor might eventually turn against the Heavenly Saint cult. Qin Mu remained completely calm. The Great Thunderclap Monastery and the Dao sect still existed. Yan Kong still needed to eliminate those two holy lands. Therefore, before those two forces were destroyed, Emperor Yan Feng would not dare to move against the Heavenly Saint cult. Qin Mu also had no intention of becoming emperor. As long as the future emperor continued following the path of reform and shared the ideals of the Heavenly Saint cult, it did not matter who sat on the throne. Furthermore, the national preceptor had already become the fourth heavenly king of the Heavenly Saint cult. The relationship between the imperial court and the Heavenly Saint cult remained extremely close. Qin Mu and the Jade Heavenly King then discussed the true meaning of the Sage's Way. The Jade Heavenly King believed that the Tao was not something fixed from ancient times. It could be created and changed by humanity. In ancient times, there were no roads. People walked repeatedly over the land, and paths gradually became roads. When dirt roads became difficult to travel, people laid down stones. Walking was too slow, so people invented carriages. Carriages were still too slow, so people created flying ships. When distances became too great for ordinary communication, people invented magical letters to transmit messages. Humanity could also transform barren lands, reshape the environment, transport fresh food across enormous distances, turn dangerous wilderness into livable regions, and even control wind, rain, thunder, and lightning. Qin Mu looked at the sacred tree and its countless branches. He gradually understood a profound truth. The great Tao of heaven and earth was like a tree. At first, there was only one trunk. But as humanity continued to create, innovate, and develop, countless new branches of the Tao would continue to appear. Humanity was not merely adapting to heaven and earth. Humanity was gradually changing the great Tao itself. Finally, the Jade Heavenly King asked Qin Mu whether he intended to become emperor in order to protect the Heavenly Saint cult. Qin Mu immediately refused. He had no desire to become emperor. As long as Yan Kong continued following the path of reform, the Heavenly Saint cult did not need to directly control the empire. The national preceptor was already the fourth heavenly king of the cult, and Yan Kong still had many challenges ahead. As for destroying the Great Thunderclap Monastery and the Dao sect, that would be far from easy. Qin Mu understood his own position perfectly. He had not come to Yan Kong to become a ruler. He had come here to gain experience, observe the world, understand the great Dao, and find his own path of cultivation. And with that, episode 97 comes to an end. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you won't miss the latest episodes. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.